Hey guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for the weekend of, and I am looking at my watch, March 23rd. I'm trying to add 2 to 21. This is going to be my book haul for the last 3 weeks. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, we went on vacation and then I had to travel for work, and I am finally back home. It was quite an adventure, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So let me go through the books and then I'll chat a little bit. I got a lot of books for review. The first one I got for review, and all of them I'm like super excited about, so I'll keep saying I'm excited. I did get Finale by Stephanie Garber, which is the final book in the Caraval series. So I'm really excited about this. I really like that series, and I was so excited to get this from NetGalley. This comes out in May, I believe. I think it's like May 6th. And then the next one I got for review is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. I don't know if I said that right. This is already out. I got this through Amazon Vine, and I was actually kind of going through. They have like a section called Vine for All, which is stuff that's not targeted at you, but if they have leftovers, it goes there. And so I picked that up from there for review. I'm excited to read this. I've heard good things about it. It's a young adult kind of fantasy novel. And then this one I'm super excited about. I got this for review from Amazon Vine as well. I believe this is already out too. Courting Darkness by Robin LaFevers. I loved her other like Grave Mercy series, that series. And this is a new fantasy series by her with, Sabella. So with characters from that other trilogy, but it's a duology. I love the cover for this too. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm very excited to read that. Then I did get one kind of random book for review, and that is Through a Life by Tom Hagamat. This is I can show you what it is. So basically, this is the story of a guy's life. It's a fictional story, but every page has the picture of him and the date and location, and then a picture of what he is seeing. So it shows this guy's whole life from birth to old age. It's well done. There were a couple, I've already read it. There were a couple points where I was a little bit confused about what was happening because there are no words, and I was like trying to like what happened here. But overall, it's well done. I enjoyed it. I already wrote a review for it, and I believe it is posting next week. So that one. And then hold on. I did buy a book for Kindle, and that is The Blood Curse by Annette Marie. This is the third and final book in the Spellweaver series. So that was a good series. It was like a prequel to the Steel and Sword series. There is going to be a couple books like after the Steel and Sword series that deals with these two characters again. This is Lear and Cleo. I'll be honest, I didn't like these characters quite as much as Piper and Ash, but they were really good, and it was a really fun, like, quick read with a lot of action. And in general, I think Annette Marie does a really good job writing action scenes, but also having really interesting characters and a little bit of romance in there. Just very good story, very good world building. So I've been liking her books a lot. Okay, then I did buy an audiobook. And that is the fourth book in the Smoke and Iron, or the fourth book in the Great Library series, which is titled Smoke and Iron by Rachel Kane. I've talked about this series quite a bit. I really like it. It's kind of an alternate history steampunk fantasy series, I guess. So, I've mentioned it's about the Great Library of Alexandria kind of runs the world, and I love the characters. I love the world building. It's been very engaging and very good, and the audiobook is very well done. So I also love the covers on these. They're very beautiful. Loving this series, so I'm excited to read that. And then the last one I got from the library, another one I'm really excited to read. I just have a lot of books right now in series or whatever that are coming out that I'm just super excited about, and that is The Shadow Glass by Rin Chupeco. I believe this is the final book in the Bone Witch trilogy. I know a lot of people haven't liked this, but I love it. Rin Chupeco is one of those authors that for some reason I just love her writing style. I love her imagery. and a lot of people don't. So it's just something that works for me. I'm really excited to see how this wraps up because I think this has been a fantastic series. And I love how the previous books were put together, where you'd have a chapter from the past and then a chapter in the present. And the whole time you're trying to piece together, like, how did these characters get to where they are in the present? Lots of interesting magic, a really interesting world. I love the characters. I'm really excited to see how this all wraps up. So that should be good. So that is as brief as I could do the books I got. I believe there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Not bad for 3 weeks, 2 books a week, which is kind of what I'm trying to stick to. Okay, so other stuff. A lot is happening in my life. We went on vacation. We had a pretty good time. We basically flew into Las Vegas, spent a couple days there, went out to Death Valley, went to Hoover Dam, then went up and spent a couple days in Zion National Park. And then from there, went down to the Grand Canyon and spent a night there, and then went down and spent a couple nights in Sedona, and then flew out of Phoenix. So that was kind of our whole trip. There were a lot of weird, issues caused by weather. When we went to Death Valley, they actually had a whole bunch of flooding, which it's Death Valley. It's normally really, really dry, but a lot of stuff was closed for flooding. And we went to go see Badwater Basin, which is the salt basin that's all cracked and dry and cool looking. It was muddy. It was weird. And the temperature, temperature is only 65, and there's all these warnings about 110 degree Fahrenheit heat and stuff, and we just didn't see any of that. Hoover Dam was cool. They have a new visitor center since I've been there. It's been 15 years since I've been there, so that was kind of neat. Las Vegas is Las Vegas. I can do it for a day or two, but it's just a lot of people and a lot of noise, and everything is expensive, and it's hard to get to anything that's not casino related. We wanted to go through the Shark Reef with my son, and you have to walk through the whole casino to get to the Shark Reef, and every thing that you can do that's not gambling is like that. You have to walk through the whole casino to get there. And I understand why they do it, but it's frustrating. Zion National Park was actually really beautiful, but smaller than I thought. We had planned 2 days there, and they had issues with rock slides because of all the snowmelt. And some of the major trails were closed. Another one of the major trail, the Angel's Landing, it goes up Scouts Point. We were going to hike up to Scouts Point, not all the way up to Angel's Landing. But they recommended crampons for your shoes because it was still icy. So we did every hiking trail we could do in that park in about 4 hours. And we are a little insane. We just go. But we were done in 4 hours. And then we're sitting there well, we have a whole nother day out here. What are we going to do? So we ended up renting UTVs and going on a UTV tour of a state park that's very close to Zion. That's called Mesquite Sand Dune State Park. And that was really fun. It was a 4-hour tour. There were lookout points that you stopped at and stuff. But we got to race these UTVs up and down these huge sand dunes, and it was incredibly fun. It was like a roller coaster with but not being on a ride. I don't know. It was very fun. And then we got to do some rock climbs. So you got to climb up the sides of the mountains and plateaus and stuff and back down. And my husband and I switched off driving. So I drove twice and he drove twice, and we had a lot of fun. That was fun. It was really expensive, but it was fun. And Grand Canyon was also a bit of a flop because when we got up there, it was sunny and nice, very cold. It was 20 degrees, and we got to see across the Grand Canyon and stuff. But as we were driving through the South Rim to get to our hotel, a snowstorm rolled in. You could literally see the snowstorm crossing the canyon and rolling in, and it got bad. We went to our hotel, it was snowing. We got up the next morning to go spend more time out there. It was 15 degrees. There were horrible winds. Everything, most of the rim trail, all the trails that went down the wall were closed. Most of the rim trail was closed as well because it was just ice. And as I get older, I have a greater aversion to falling. So there's a lot of worries about falling, at least for me. My husband isn't quite as worried about it, but I don't want anybody to fall. So it was really, for me in particular, I think it was just really unpleasant because I wanted to get away from the cold. And it was really, really cold. I was wearing leggings under jeans and a long sleeve shirt and a sweatshirt and my soft shell jacket and hat and gloves. And we had hot beverages, and it's still just, at 15 degrees, it's just, it's not going to kill you probably, but it's a long time it gets cold if you're outside for a long time. And the shuttles run every 15 minutes to get you from place to place. And 15 minutes is a long time to stand out in that cold. So we did not spend a long time there. We went to like the Geology Center and the Hopi House and did some of that stuff. And then we were just like, screw this, we're leaving. So we left and we decided to go to, actually between Zion and the Grand Canyon, we stopped by Antelope Canyon, which a lot of people haven't heard of, but if you have heard of it, it's a really famous place for photography. And a lot of like, if you have the Windows 10 thing where it's the cool like sandstone orange canyon picture, that was done in Antelope Canyon. So you have to get special tickets to go in there because it is on a Navajo reservation. We did that. It was a little bit weird. They loaded us in the back of a big like army van and like drove us into the canyon. And then it was super, super windy, like really windy. We're talking 25, 30 mile an hour winds. And you're down in the canyon and the top is actually pretty narrow. But as the wind blows, it's blowing sand down on top of you. So it was an interesting issue, which I had glasses, so I wasn't having as big of an issue, but my husband said don't have glasses. And it was dark in the canyon. And they kept getting sand in their eyes. Like you could not look up without getting sand in your eyes. And it was funny because everybody had their hoods on and the sand was just hitting your jacket and it sounded like rainfall almost. So that was an adventure and it was actually really fun. That's probably my second favorite thing we did after the UTVs on this trip. Super fun. And so then we went to Grand Canyon, which was a bust. We left the Grand Canyon. And since we left so early, we decided to go out to Meteor Crater, which is a confirmed site of a meteor crash. And that was pretty cool how big the crater was. They have a decent like museum thing. We talked about doing the hike along the rim, but again, I hate heights and I was getting sick of cliffs. Like I had a lot of cliffs in Zion. I had a lot of cliffs in Grand Canyon with ice and I was getting sick of cliffs. So I walked out and I was like, if you guys want to do the hike, do it. I don't want to do it. And we had got there right after one had gone out and decided not to do it. You basically just walked along the rim of the meteor for half a mile and then walked back. So we watched the movie and did some stuff and it was like neat to see it, but it's not a national park. It's commercially owned. So some of it was a little, you felt like you're getting a little ripped off, but still it was fun. And then from there, we went into Sedona, which was another one of my favorite parts of the trip. I really love Sedona. I did not love the drive to Sedona. I offered to drive from Meteor Craters to Sedona because I'm like, oh, it's flat. It's not a big deal. But you actually come down through the mountains on this road that just hairpins around cliffs like this. And the speed limit's like 15 miles an hour. And I was doing it at like 5. I created my own personal traffic jam, which my husband was like, you can pull over and let people pass. And I'm like, I am not getting closer to the edge. So, that was not it was beautiful. And if I hadn't been driving, I think I would have enjoyed it. But I was like so worried. Like if you took your foot off the brake and went over 15, like you just boom off the cliff. So I know I'm being overly dramatic, but I don't like cliffs. Anyways, so Sedona was amazing though. It's beautiful. There's cute little shops. There's great places to eat. There's like thousands of hikes in the area. And in my I guess you call it cliff exhaustion. Like I was done with cliffs at this point. I just wanted to hike where I didn't think I was going to fall off and die. We went out to Red Rock State Park there. Beautiful park. It has a small entrance fee, but every single hike gives you beautiful overlooks of all the red rocks around Sedona. No cliffs. Like they go up high, but it's on a gradual incline. So I loved it. We had a really good time. And then after we did that, we went ahead and drove out to this park called Out of Africa. My son found a brochure for this and really wanted to do it. I was a little bit worried, but it was really cool. It's all rescue animals and they have it set up like a safari. You like get in a car and you like go through and learn about the animals. And then they have like a tiger water show and a snake show. And then once you do all that, you can kind of walk back through the park and kind of just look at the animals at your leisure. When you're in the car, you're actually in with the animals without any fences or anything. But then when you walk back through, you walk through an area where there are fences. I was incredibly impressed by how thoughtful the staff was and how accommodating they were. Like we got there right before the tiger show, and rather than driving us back to the entrance like the safari normally did, they actually drove us to the show, and then they offered to transport anybody's strollers from the entrance to the show. And the animals looked happy and well cared for. So it was one of my better like experiences for that. So that was pretty cool. And then the last day we had to go to Phoenix to fly out, and we stopped by Montezuma Castle, which is a national monument. It's a Pueblo, I'm going to say this wrong, Pueblo Indian building that's in a cliff, and you can kind of see like the housing that was built up into this cliff. We really liked it. I thought it was really cool. It was not a long stop. Like, we stopped, we went, we saw it. We have a national parks pass, so it didn't cost us anything to go do it. So we just kind of stopped, looked at, took pictures, and then went to Phoenix and caught our plane. But I know this was kind of a long post, but that in a nutshell was our vacation. It was really nice. It was unbelievably nice to get to spend time. Like, me and my husband refused to work the whole time. I was getting texted occasionally. He was getting bothered by work, and we just said, no, we're not doing any work. And it was very nice to get spend time with my family and like remember why we get along so well and how we can have fun together. And me and my husband have been so busy with work, and my son's getting older and he's busy with his stuff, that it was very nice to just have some time together to do this. I have to watch the time because I have to go pick my son up a little bit here. But so that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we got back and I immediately had to go to work down to the manufacturing plant I go to, which is a 9-hour drive from where I am. And I thought I was going to have to be out there by Tuesday morning, but got a call Monday morning at 6 a.m. saying, hey, can you be down here by 10 o'clock tonight? So I had to like drop everything and do a 9-hour drive, and then found out they were going to run my experiment from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. They were going to do a night shift. So then I had to stay up for that. And then I found out that the second part of the experiment was delayed until 10 a.m. the next morning. So then I like ran to the hotel, slept for a few hours, went back, did work from like 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. and then left, drove back. I only drove part. I drove like 2 hours of it, stayed in a hotel, and then drove the rest the next day. But it was exhausting. And I worked like, I don't know, it was like a lot of hours. I count the driving as working because I hate driving, but it was a lot of time in a very short period of time. So, but I'm back from that. I slept a ton yesterday and I'm good to go. And that's all I'm going to say. This was a long video. Again, apologies. I have mentioned a few times that I am going to be having surgery. I actually have it next week, and it's a long recovery. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video about that and why I need to have it and what is going on. It's kind of personal, but I really feel like maybe people could benefit about just hearing the whole thing. I debated about it, like, it's kind of personal. Do I want to film about it? And I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, I think it would be a good thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'll probably post that maybe Sunday, tomorrow, if you're seeing this on Saturday. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. That was a really long update, but I hope you enjoyed it and just skipped the parts you didn't want to know about. I hope you got a lot of great books and that you have a great week of reading ahead of you. And I will not be talking to you next week because I will be having surgery next Friday. So hopefully the week after I will feel well enough to communicate with the outside world again. Talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye.